They said I was a burden. After 70 years of living, after raising them, feeding them, staying awake through their fevers and nightmares, my own children looked at me and said, "We can't take care of you anymore." That morning felt different from the moment I opened my eyes, not because I was sick. I've lived long enough to know the difference between a body that hurts and a heart that does. That day, it was my heart. The house was quiet, but not the peaceful kind of quiet. It was heavy, like something had already been decided, and I was the last one to know. I turned my head and looked at my husband, Walter. He was still asleep beside me, breathing slowly, unevenly. His heart had been weak for years now. I reached out and gently touched his hair. Gray, soft, familiar. "How did we get here?" I whispered. He didn't hear me. Maybe that was better. I got up slowly. Every movement takes effort at my age, but you get used to it. Pain becomes part of the routine, like making tea. In the kitchen, I did what I had done for 50 years. I cooked, not because anyone asked me to, but because it was the only way I still knew how to say. "I love you." I cracked 3 eggs into the pan. 3. I paused. I was already calculating. 2 for Walter, 1 split for me. That would be enough. That's when Victoria walked in. My daughter, 42 years old. Successful, organized, always in control. She didn't say good morning. She looked at the pan, then at me. Again, she said, "Do you have any idea how much food costs?" I kept my eyes on the eggs. "I thought you might want breakfast," I said quietly. "I eat outside, it's cheaper." She dropped a stack of papers onto the table. Medical bills, Walter's medication. I didn't need to look. I already knew. "Every day it's something," she said. "Electricity, water, food. This isn't sustainable." Sustainable. Such a clean word. Such a cold word. I slid the eggs onto a plate. "Sit down," I said softly. "Eat something." She hesitated, just for a moment. Then she sat. She ate without saying thank you, scrolling on her phone. I watched her for a second and tried to remember the little girl who used to run into my arms. I couldn't quite find her anymore. I made Walter's plate and carried it to the bedroom. He was awake now, reaching for his pills. He looked at me, really looked. He always could. "What did she say?" he asked. "Nothing important," I replied. He didn't believe me, but he didn't push. He just nodded and started eating. Outside the room, I could hear the house waking up. Lucas's television, Victoria's heels, and then Daniel's car. My eldest, he didn't live with us anymore. So why was he here this early? I felt it then, that pressure in the air. Like before a storm, something was coming. He didn't knock. He never knocked anymore. That used to matter to me. The small things. Good mornings. Please. Thank you. They disappear slowly, until one day you realize they're gone. "We need to talk," Daniel said. All of us. Living room. Walter was still holding his fork. I'm eating, he said. It won't take long. I placed my hand gently on Walter's arm. Let's go, I said quietly. It's easier. Don't fight it. He understood. He always did. We sat together on the smaller sofa, the one that used to be in the center of the room. Before Daniel rearranged everything without asking, Victoria had her papers. Of course she did. Lucas sat on the couch, already knowing. I could see it in his face. Daniel stood near the window, confident, prepared. We've been talking, he said. When Walter asked calmly. A pause. We didn't want to worry you, Victoria said smoothly. Until we had a plan. A plan. I felt something inside me go very still. We found a place, Daniel continued. A care facility. Clean, professional. People your age. You'll have everything you need. Walter looked at him. A nursing home, he said quietly. Call it what it is. Silence. It's the best option, Daniel said. For everyone. For everyone. I sat there, hands folded in my lap, and I looked at my children. Really looked. I tried to find the Bobbies I once held, the ones I stayed awake for, the ones I would have died for without thinking twice. I saw pieces, but not them, not anymore. All right, I said. Walter turned to me sharply, but I didn't look at him. All right, I repeated, because I understood something in that moment. This wasn't a conversation. This was a decision, already made. Later that day, I was in the backyard, hanging laundry. The lemon tree Walter planted years ago stood tall beside me. It had grown just like everything else, except us. Then I heard voices. Victoria, Lucas, from the kitchen window. They'll take them Friday, Lucas said. A van. Friday. I'll clear the room, Victoria replied. And the house. A pause. Then, the house is ours. Just like that. Not will be. Not maybe. Ours. They won't come back, she added. I'll make sure of it. I stood there with a wet sheet in my hands, and for the first time that day, I let myself cry. Not loudly, not for long, just enough to understand the truth. We weren't being moved. We were being removed. That night, I told Walter everything, every word. He didn't interrupt. When I finished, he just sat there quietly. Then he said something I will never forget. I'm tired, Aliner. Not tired like sleep. Tired like life. We don't fight this, he said. We go. I looked at him, and in that moment I realized this wasn't the end. This was something else. Something I didn't understand yet. But I would, very soon, because Friday was coming. Friday came faster than I expected. Maybe because I wasn't counting the days. Maybe because part of me still believed it wouldn't really happen. But it did. At exactly 9 in the morning, the van arrived. White, clean, Quiet. Two men stepped out, wearing blue uniforms. Polite smiles, professional voices. They had done this before, many times. Take your time, one of them said. There is something about that phrase, when you know there is no time at all. I packed a small bag, just clothes, Walter's medication, our documents, and one photograph, our wedding day. I took it from the wall carefully, like it might break. Victoria stood in the doorway while I packed. She didn't say anything about the bag, but her eyes watched it, counting, measuring, making sure I didn't take anything that wasn't mine. Or maybe anything that was. Daniel stood outside, talking to one of the men. Lucas was on his phone. When we walked out of the house, they performed the scene. The hugs, the soft voices. We'll visit. Call us if you need anything. Arms around shoulders that didn't feel real. Walter stood straight as his body would allow. He picked up his own bag, even when one of the men offered to carry it. I knew why. It wasn't about the bag. It was about dignity. I looked at the front door one last time. Green, faded, still the same color Walter had chosen all those years ago. It reminds me of home, he used to say. I turned away. I didn't look back again. The ride was quiet. The city moved around us. People going to work, shops opening, life continuing, as if nothing had changed. But everything had. The place was exactly what they said it would be. Clean, bright, orderly, and empty in a way I can't quite explain. Not physically empty. Emotionally, there were people there. So many people. But it felt like something had been taken out of the air. Something essential. Our room was small. 2 narrow beds. A window facing a parking lot. A shared bathroom down the hall. This is it, Walter said quietly. This is it, I repeated. That first night, I didn't sleep. Not really. There was always a sound. A door, a distant voice, someone crying softly, somewhere down the hall. The kind of crying that doesn't expect anyone to come. Walter reached for my hand in the dark. I reached back. It won't always feel like this, I said. I wasn't sure if I was comforting him or myself. Days passed. They all looked the same. Breakfast, silence, people waiting, always waiting, for visitors, for calls, for something. Most of the time, nothing came. I met a woman named Margaret, a former teacher. Sharp eyes, kind voice. How long have you been here? She asked me. 8 days, I said. She nodded. It gets easier, she said. Then she paused. Or you just get used to it. I didn't know which one scared me more. There was another woman, Dorothy. She sat by the window every afternoon, looking at the parking lot, waiting for my daughter, she told me. How long has she been gone? 6 months, she said. She still watched the door every single day. Walter was changing. I saw it. The way he moved, the way he ate, or didn't, the way he went quiet. That kind of quiet is dangerous. One morning, I found him still in bed, his breakfast untouched. Walter, I said gently, you need to eat. What does it matter? He replied. Not angry, not sad, just empty. And that frightened me more than anything. That afternoon, I sat in the common room, and I thought, really thought, we couldn't stay here. Not because it was cruel, but because it was slow. It slowly takes something from you. Your purpose, your voice, your sense that you still belong somewhere. That night, Walter reached for my hand again. I want to leave, he said. I closed my eyes. We have nowhere to go, I whispered. I know, he said. I know I'm sick. I know it doesn't make sense. He paused, but I would rather die outside than disappear in here. Silence. Then I said, then we leave. We left before dawn. No goodbye. No explanations. Just 2 small bags. And a decision. The air outside felt different. Cooler. Alive. For the first time in days. I could breathe. We walked. Slowly. Walter with his stick. Me beside him. Always watching him. Always listening. For the sound of his breathing. At first he was fine. Then the sun came up. And with it, the heat. It pressed down on us. The road stretched endlessly ahead. Cars passed. Fast. Loud. Close. No one stopped. No one looked. An old couple on the side of the road. Invisible. Walter slowed. His breathing changed. I knew that sound. We need to stop, I said. Not yet, he replied. 5 minutes later, he couldn't continue. I helped him sit on a low concrete barrier. His hands were trembling. His face, too pale. Water, I said. I gave him the last of what we had. It wasn't enough. Nothing was enough. I stood up, and I looked at the road, at the cars rushing past, at the people inside them, with somewhere to go, and I understood something very clearly. No one was coming, unless I made them. I stepped closer to the road. I raised my arm. The first car didn't stop. The second didn't stop. The third didn't even slow down. I kept my arm up. I didn't move. Eleanor, Walter said weakly behind me. Be quiet, I whispered. Not harsh, just focused. I closed my eyes for a second, and I said the simplest prayer I knew. Please, he needs help. I opened my eyes, and then a car slowed down. Old, dusty, nothing special, but it stopped. Hazard lights blinking. A man stepped out. Young, simple clothes, ordinary, but his eyes were not ordinary. They saw us. Immediately. Are you all right? He asked. My husband, I said. His heart. He didn't hesitate. Not even for a second. Okay, he said. Just that. Okay. Like it was simple. Like helping us was the most natural thing in the world. He helped Walter up carefully, gently, respectfully. I've got you, he said, and I saw something happen in Walter's face. That instinct to refuse help disappear. He trusted him. We both did. What's your name? I asked. David, he said. Where are you going? I opened my mouth and realized I had no answer. He looked at me through the mirror, and he understood. Hospital first, he said. Everything else later. And for the first time, since that morning in the kitchen, I felt something shift inside me. Not hope, not yet, but something close. Because for just a moment, we were not alone anymore. The hospital smelled like antiseptic and silence. Walter was taken through double doors before I could even catch my breath. Wait here, they told me. So I waited. I sat in a hard plastic chair, my hands folded in my lap, staring at nothing. Or maybe at everything. Time felt strange in that place. Slow and heavy. David sat beside me. He didn't check his phone. He didn't fidget. He just stayed. After a while, I said, You should go. You have your own life. He shook his head slightly. My grandmother once sat in a place like this, he said. No one came. He paused. I was too late. He looked at me then. I'm not making that mistake again. I didn't know what to say, so I said nothing. 3 hours later, a doctor came out. Your husband had a cardiac episode, he said. Not a full heart attack, but close. My heart stopped for a moment. He needs rest, monitoring, a few days at least. I nodded. Is there family we should call? The doctor asked. I thought about Daniel, Victoria, Lucas. I thought about the van, the road, the silence. No, I said. There's no one. David stayed, even after visiting hours began, even after Walter was settled into his room. He stood quietly in the corner while I sat beside my husband. Walter looked at him. You're still here? He asked. Yes, sir, David replied. Why? David thought for a second. I don't think I can leave until I know what happens next. Walter studied him carefully, then nodded. That makes sense, he said. That evening, I told David everything. The house, the conversation, the nursing home, the road, all of it. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, something had changed in his eyes. A decision, quiet, but firm. I need to make a call, he said. He stepped out. 15 minutes later, he came back. I spoke to my wife, he said. You're married? I asked. 6 years, he said, almost shyly. Her name is Maria. He leaned forward slightly. We have a house, he continued. It's not big, but we have a room. I didn't understand at first. Then I did. You're offering us a place to stay? I asked. I'm offering you a home, he said, for as long as you need. Silence filled the room. Walter looked at me. I looked at him. And in that moment, we both knew. Yes, I said softly. We'd like that. Maria came the next morning. Bright, warmed, alive. She walked into the room like sunlight. I'm so angry at your children, she said immediately. I laughed. I couldn't help it. And for the first time, in what felt like forever, it didn't hurt. When Walter was discharged, we went with them. Their house was small, simple, but it felt alive. There was warmth in the walls, laughter in the air, a kitchen that smelled like real food, and something else, something I hadn't felt in a long time. Belonging. Walter got stronger there. Slowly, not all at once, but enough to smile again, enough to sit in the garden, enough to feel like himself. And then everything changed again. A man came to the door, a lawyer. He had been looking for Walter. For 3 years, he said. 3 years. My heart tightened. Your grandfather left you an estate, he explained. 10 properties and approximately $20 million. 20 million. The room went completely silent. Walter looked at me. I looked at him. Neither of us spoke. Why now? Walter asked. The lawyer hesitated. We sent letters, he said carefully, to your previous address. Letters, so many letters. They were received, he continued. Signed for. My mind moved quickly. Victoria, the papers, the control. The house is ours. They knew, I whispered. Walter didn't answer. He didn't need to. We both understood. They had hidden it, all of it, for 3 years, waiting, planning, removing us, so they could take everything. That evening, I sat at the table with Walter, David, and Maria. I know what I want to do, I said. They all looked at me. Not about the children, I continued. About the money. I thought about Dorothy, waiting by the window. I thought about Margaret, 14 months. I thought about all the people who were left behind. I want to build something, I said. A real home, not a facility. A place where people are seen, known, remembered. Walter looked at me, and slowly, he nodded. Yes, he said. We build it. Months passed. We found a house. Old, beautiful, full of potential. David helped rebuild it. Maria organized everything. And I filled it with life. We called it Rosewood House. The first to arrive was Henry, then Dorothy, then Margaret. One by one, they came, not as patients, not as burdens, but as people, with stories, with names, with dignity. And then, one day, a black car pulled up outside. I knew that sound before I even looked. Daniel, Victoria, Lucas, they stepped out, well-dressed, confident, smiling. Mom, Daniel said, opening his arms. "We've been worried." I didn't move. I looked at him, really looked. "Daniel," I said calmly. They came inside, sat down, played their roles. Concern, family, care, until, "About the inheritance," Victoria said. There it was. Finally, "You hid the letters," Walter said quietly. Silence. Then, "We thought you'd give it away," Lucas admitted. I nodded slowly. "Yes," I said. "I did. I told them everything. The house, the people, the purpose." Their faces changed. Calculation, disbelief, greed. "We want our share," Victoria said. "Of course you do." Walter stood up slowly. "You'll hear from our lawyer," he said. Then he looked at them, one by one. "I built a home for this family," he said, "with my own hands. And you left us on a road to die." Silence. "You can go now." They left, one by one. Lucas stopped. "I'm sorry," he said quietly. I looked at him. "I know," I replied. That was all. Weeks later, the will was read. To Daniel, Victoria, and Lucas, Walter left $1 each, and a letter, "For the children who abandoned me, I leave you the same thing you gave me. Nothing. The dollar is so you cannot say you were forgotten. I remembered you, but love that is not returned must be given to those who can receive it." Years passed. Walter died peacefully. At home, in a real home, not alone, not forgotten, and I lived on, watching Rosewood House grow. More people, more laughter, more life, and one day I understood something fully. A home is not a place. It's people, not the ones you are born to, but the ones who choose you and stay until the very end.